don't know that there's a lot of credibility here in the first place when a psychic medium contacts you via DMs, you know, your messages on Instagram, and starts to tell you about your future? Can you even take it seriously?
You know what? The internet is a place where credibility goes to die. So why not just take everything with a grain of salt?
Isn't that the truth?
And have a little bit of fun with it. So yeah, this woman says she's a psychic medium, and she thinks she has a prediction for my love life based off of a dream that she had. Now, I am fresh off boy sobriety. I was told to stay away from boys for 30 days.
Are we done with that?
Yeah.
I have $8,000.
Yeah, it's time for you to drop in my inbox. I was looking for it today. I had plans for that money.
Did you? Keep planning, Abby. You got plenty of time.
So I'm fresh off boy sobriety. I've been staying away from men for 30 days. It feels really good. And now the thought of entertaining a man does not sound appealing at all. So really, this has worked out in a different way. But I have been planning to go to the United Kingdom for a little bit. So I might be feeling a little bit differently by the time I get to September. You know, maybe the Brits will change my mind. If you don't know, I've been thinking about wanting to travel abroad, but I'm like, oh my God, it's scary traveling as a woman. So now I'm planning this trip with Bert Show listeners so we can all travel as a big group. If you want to go on the trip, you can find me on Instagram. It's linked to my bio.
Some of those listeners should scare you more than anything else.
They really should. They might be the scariest part of the trip. No, it's going to be really fun. Big girl group in Dublin. So anyway, I'm planning this big trip to Dublin. And ever since I started talking about it, I've gotten like at least 10 DMs from people saying, I really just, for some reason, feel like your guy is in the UK. I'm just getting a sense that you're going to end up with a Brit. And at first I was like, okay, this is just like one DM that I've gotten from someone. But now I've gotten at least like somewhere between 10 to 15 DMs from listeners who have said the same thing, which to me is more wild than this DM that I got from an actual psychic medium.
You don't know how the universe works, so this could be happening.
It could actually be happening. So I'm like, all right, well, obviously I need to go to the UK because something's going to go down.
You just keep going from country to country. You're going to find yourself a good man.
Somewhere around the world in 80 years, I'm going to find a man.
It's going to be like Uzbekistan. It'll be last on your list. And there he is.
God, me in the trenches for real. Anyway, so I've talked about going on the trip a lot. I'm getting all these DMs. And finally I get this DM from someone who says that she's a psychic medium. And she says, listen, I am not an avid listener to the podcast. I don't live in the city where you're based, so I don't hear it on the radio. And I had a dream a few days after you talked about your trip to Dublin. And I wanted to share it with you because if somebody had psychic abilities and had a dream about me, I would want to know the information, whether or not it panned out to be true. And I was like, fair enough. Seems somewhat credible. So she introduces herself to me. She's like, I know it's weird. It's a hobby of mine, but I've had these psychic gifts as long as I can remember, and I really just want to share this with you. So she goes, I don't know if you're in a relationship or not, which I'm like, of course you don't listen to the podcast that often because you would know for sure if you were a little bit more committed to it, if you were P1. And she's like, I feel like I have a message for you. So she's like, I'm going to give you all the details. It doesn't mean that this is going to happen word for word. You may have a similar experience where you do meet this person, but it's not in the scenario where I dreamed that you guys were. It may be symbolism for something else. I'm just going to tell you what happened, and you can have your own interpretation of it. So I'm like, okay, this is a lot. So give it to me, girl. So she ends up sending me this long message. She said, I had a vivid dream that I believe is meant for you. In this dream, I found myself in the heart of a European city, walking down a narrow cobblestone street lined with quaint shops and charming cafes. I then turned a corner and I found you in a bustling marketplace. There were vibrant colors, intoxicating scents, and I saw you looking through a stand that was selling handmade jewelry. But what really caught my attention was the person introducing themselves next to you. I'm like, hope it was a hot man. That would be great. She said you were standing next to a man with blue eyes wearing a solid colored t-shirt, jeans, and a backpack. In the dream, I then eavesdropped in on your conversation. This person introduces himself to you, and in the dream, he introduces himself as James, which is very interesting because my dad's name is James and my brother's middle name is James. They were also a tourist visiting the city and were asking you for directions, which you will find ironic because he has a tattoo of a compass on his wrist. So it's like, why do you need directions? You got a compass everywhere you go. Anyway.
I don't think it's accurate.
She said this may be a tattoo in real life or it may be symbolizing his love for travel or adventure or something. I don't know. So then he mentions that he is also an avid hiker and is not used to navigating cities. So you guys continue to talk and then you guys browse the market together. She says, I know this sounds surreal, but I couldn't help shake the feeling that this holds significant meaning for you. As you prepare for your trip to the UK, keep an open heart and an open mind because the universe has a way of orchestrating serendipitous moments beyond our wildest dreams, which I love because that's a Taylor Swift song. If you have any questions, if there's anything else you want to know, please reach out, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, I screenshot that. I write it down for my notes so I could share it with you guys. And then I went to go check it again yesterday just to like tell her I was going to talk about it on the radio. She either blocked me or deleted her account because it just says like Instagram user in my DMs now. So I don't know where this woman went, and it's so creepy, but at least now I have hope that maybe I'll meet somebody.
All right,
Wow.
So I have a task for Bert, Mo, and myself. We're going to tap into our psychic medium abilities, and we too are going to write a scenario for Abby of what we think is going to happen on her trip. And if she is or is not going to meet a man.
Okay.
All right. It's always exhausting when I tap into that medium, man.
I know, right?
You know, yeah, it takes a lot out of me.
This random listener who has now since disappeared
into the ether.
She's a beautiful writer, at very, very lovely details. And so we'll see if that happens. But we'll also see if Bert, myself, and Mo are a little closer. And we will also come up with what we believe, what we foresee, and like our fortune telling for you on your travels.
Okay, so kind of like you're manifesting something for me.
No, this is psychic abilities,
Oh,
man.
okay.
We're seeing into the
We don't play
future.
about this.
We're not manifesting it. We're telling you this is going to happen.
Some say everybody has it. You just have to be tapped into it. That's all.
Okay, well,
Okay.
I'm down, and hopefully y'all don't predict bad things because it's a lot of money to go on this trip. I better have a damn good time.
I do find it odd because I thought for sure she was going to hit you up for even more cash after she gave you that little tease reading, but then she just goes away.
That's why I think it might be a little legit because she wanted nothing for me.
Yeah.
She just wanted to give me something good for my trip, and now I'm even more excited to go. So,
Okay.
It's interesting.
going to Ireland.
All right, no problem.
See you soon, James.
The Bert Show.